Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him there as a burnt offering. This directive forces a collision between the character of a loving creator and the demand made of an aging father. For millennia, readers have struggled to reconcile these two realities. This narrative functions as a piece of precise theological architecture. To decode it, we have to use the framework of biblical typology. This is the idea that specific historical events in the ancient world serve as intentional, prophetic patterns. Typology operates on a logic of shadow and substance. The Old Testament provides the initial silhouette, while the New Testament provides the solid historical reality. Under this lens, the events on Mount Moriah serve as a deliberate prelude pointing to a specific moment in the future. The physical details of the 3-day journey up the mountain provide the first set of coordinates. Isaac, the son, carries the wood for his own sacrifice upon his back as he climbs the slopes of Moriah. As they reach the summit, Isaac notes the missing element. He asks his father, "The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" Abraham responds by stating that God himself will provide the lamb. That promise remains suspended in the narrative for 1,500 years. The world waits until the arrival of a prophet named John the Baptist. When John sees Jesus approaching, he declares, "Behold the Lamb of God." It is the structural resolution to the question asked on this mountain centuries earlier. At the climax of the Genesis narrative, an angel halts the sacrifice, and then Abraham discovers a substitute. Early scholars like Ambrose and Irenaeus analyzed the mechanics of this substitution, specifically the ram caught by its horns in a thorny thicket. They identified a visual match. The sharp thorns entangling the head of the substitute ram mirrored the crown of thorns used in the crucifixion. The book of Hebrews clarifies Abraham's internal reasoning during this crisis, describing it as a form of resurrection faith. Abraham knew that God had unconditionally promised a lineage through Isaac. If he carried out the sacrifice, he reasoned that God was obligated to raise the boy from the dead to keep his word. By receiving his son back alive from the point of death, Abraham participated in a figurative foreshadowing of the Easter resurrection. Aligning the ancient shadows of Genesis with the historical records of the Gospels reveals the final resolution. The binding of Isaac functions as a theological blueprint. It is a mechanism designed to map the dimensions of the Creator's relationship with humanity. On Mount Moriah, at the last possible second, God intervened. He stopped the blade and spared the beloved son of Abraham. But on a different hill, centuries later, the sacrifice was not interrupted. In this instance, God did not spare his own son. The events of Genesis 22 reveal a creator who takes the place of humanity upon the altar, fulfilling his own promise through his own provision.